when I started the year off, my goal was to spend more because hypothetically, if I spend more, I make more. And that went well for a couple of months. Then I started to revert back to my old self. But in this video, we are going to spend more than we normally do because the idea is if I spend more money on items to resell, my sales will increase. Hopefully that's the case here. It's Brendan, Dad Planet, the one-man show. I'm going to talk about what my sales were for all of March, what my sales were for all of April. We'll discuss where the what sold videos went and if they will be making a return. I've got a bunch of items to add to your giveaway boxes and a ton of shopping in between. So for now, let's get moving. I feel like someone, if not more of you, are going to find these at a garage sale since we're kind of in season right now. This is one of those like use one time and never use again items. It's a Bubba Inflatable. The team here is the Baltimore Ravens. You can see it's only going to cost me $7. I'm looking at the bag on the inside and the stakes don't look like they were ever opened. In fact, this thing just looks like it was brand new open box. I don't think this was ever blown up. If that is the case, we've got a fantastic return on our hands here because I'm going to list it for $300. There are plenty that sell in the $300 range, and you might be able to get more, I think, depending on the team. If I remember correctly, I went back into Terapeak past 90 days and I saw one of these Baltimore Raven ones sell for $250 to $300. So very exciting find here. And even if it is pre-owned, I'll blow it up at home eventually just to make sure that it is in fact just brand new open box. But even pre-owned, I think I could still get $150 for it. So either way, it's still a fantastic return. But definitely check those garages and see if you can't score one. Look up all of the inflatables, if you will, at garage sales because you'd be surprised. They're super easy to test. You just plug the thing in, make sure that it works, make sure there's no holes, unplug it, and then put it back in the box. It's very, very simple. So check those garages, but that was a lovely find to start things off here, and we'll move on to some racks that just came out. I'm not really excited about looking at coats right now, but I had to grab this one. This is a Montbell jacket here, and we'll talk about it in just a second. So we've got a hood. It almost looks like it's hard on my phone, right? It looks like it's navy blue, but it's black, quilted, has the hood, extremely clean. And I'm looking for holes. I don't see any holes anywhere in the jacket, which is a great sign. It's an 800 fill power jacket, so it's light, but it's super warm and just extremely clean. I mean, the last one you guys saw me find in the store, I think it had a hole in it or it was cut, so I couldn't pick it up. I'm picking this one up. Only going to cost me $9. I'm going to list it for $120. There are plenty that sell in this price range. Now I know we're going into spring and summer, so I might be sitting on this for a little while. That's okay. At a $9 buy cost, listing it for $120. I'm okay waiting. It doesn't take up a ton of space in my storage, so I'm going to do what I think is right, and I think $120 is the correct price for that jacket. So anytime I find a high dollar jacket on the rack, even though I make it a practice to look through every single rack all of the time, I'm hopeful that I will find another one of equal value because that does happen often where you grab items back to back coming out of the same person's closet that have value. I don't think that I found another one that was like that one on this rack, so no go there, but what a great find. In fact, the first two items are really pretty exciting, so we'll just keep on keeping on here. I think that was time and true, so I'm going to pass that up and just check out another rack that comes out here, and I'm going to grab this t-shirt right here. This is a really great brand for resale right now. Viore, you've seen me source this a number of times now. I seem to be having some really good luck finding it, but it's a men's, either a men's small or a men's medium. Just your standard gray t-shirt, front pocket, gray color, short sleeve, and these are selling very regularly for $30 pre-owned. So this is a brand that's sold at REI among other places, just a place you can go to look. In fact, a lot of the items and a lot of the brands that REI sells in their store are great for resale. So it's just a basic t-shirt. There's nothing to it. It's just one of those brands right now that's kind of hot. And it's our job as resellers to stay on top of those things and capitalize on them. So that was a great find here. 3 really exciting items that I expect, with the exception of maybe the Montbell coat, to sell sooner than they will later. Even the NFL inflatable, although it's priced very high, there's just not a lot of them listed on the marketplace. In fact, I don't think there's any Baltimore Ravens ones, so I will be the only one selling that one. So great finds here. And as always, this information is presented to you to make you a more informed reseller. I'm hoping that you can find similar items, the same items, same brands, because they seem to do really well. And we'll get to the what solds. I know I haven't done them in a while. I will bring those back in the future here, but for now, another Patagonia piece. This is just your very standard Capilene shirt right off the rack. I think it's a women's size large. I'm definitely going to grab that. That's a Patagonia piece that's not going to get you a ton of money. I'll have it listed probably pretty fairly at $20, and we'll kind of move on from there. A couple of items I'm definitely going to pass on right here. Echo, some of you that have been following me for a really long time know I really do not respect this brand in the resale market. Here is a great example of a shoe that looks fantastic on top, and it is just completely destroyed. Now, maybe I'm picking on Echo, but I noticed that, and it's like, you know what, I'm going to trust my instincts and just pass on basically almost all Echo, with maybe the exception of some of the golf shoes. Same with this little Yeti tumbler here. It's only $3, but if you look at the mouthpiece, it's just kind of all beat up, chewed up. I love Yeti as a brand, but the tumbler market's kind of catching up, if you will, and that one was just in a condition that really, to me, wasn't favorable. I'm almost certain someone is going to pick that up, but it's just not for me. It's not going to be something that I can get max price for, so I'm going to move on. Checked another store here in our area recently. It didn't really turn up a ton, but I did grab these shoes right here, these Merrell barefoot shoes. This store, I don't know if it's recently or not, but they are starting to individually price every pair of shoes, which is crazy because they're consistently understaffed, so like who has time to go and do that for every single item? It doesn't make any sense, but that's probably the reason they're not getting enough items on the floor consistently, and so that's going to lead to lower foot traffic. So that makes absolutely no sense to me, but it is what it is. Anyway, those Merrells were size 7.5. They are probably going to sell in the $30 range. That's what I will list them at, but it's strange to hear how understaffed the store is, but you've got people in the back that have enough time to go through every single item individually and price them. Again, these things aren't for us to understand, but it is what it is. Hopefully that changes and they get a hold of themselves and start doing things kind of the old way, especially when you should be a volume store. So I'm going to grab the Merrell Barefoots, and to touch briefly on the what solds, and just to give you an idea where my sales are at before I bring them back. I did almost exactly $11,000 in sales in March. I did almost exactly $11,000 in sales in April. And again, this is still on a very part-time basis. I do not put full-time hours into my eBay store. So just to give you folks an example of kind of where we're at, I'll bring those what sold videos back eventually. I just have been busy focusing on doing more of these like thrift run videos. So thanks for your patience there, but my sales have been extremely consistent. I have nothing to complain about. I'm very thankful for that. A lot of that is just working purposefully and pricing the way I do. So it seems to be working, and that strategy has worked for me for 3-4 years now. So back to another store here. I've got a big hitter right here that's going to cost me $11. The brand is Relwen, and this is a super fleece hoodie. I'm going to talk a little bit later on how I'm going to price this and why I'm going to price it the way I am. So we will talk about this, but I can tell you this is a big time find right here for $11, brand new with tags. A brand you should certainly at least keep your eye out for, but I'm going to price this a specific way for a specific reason, and we're going to do that once we're done in store. So great find there. Next piece right behind it. This is a Flint and Tinder saddle blanket shirt. Heavyweight, snap buttons. I actually have this exact shirt in a medium listed for $90 in my store right now. We had a bunch of this come into our area, so I've had that shirt for a while. The fact that that's a large, you can't get the large anymore. You can't get the medium anymore anywhere online. I'm going to list the large for $100. I have the medium listed for $90. And I think, again, those are priced probably pretty correctly, even if we're coming into spring and summer, because it is definitely a heavyweight shirt. So, again, I could price it at $70, $60 to try to move it quickly. That's not something that I'm going to do necessarily when I know how hard it is to find. You can't just go to the internet outside of a secondary marketplace now and find that shirt. They're harder to find, so it's probably going to make them more in demand. And if I have to wait, I have to wait. I'm okay with that. So $100 on that one. We will talk about how we're going to price Relwen in just a second, and we'll look over the carts just to see if something sneaks up on us here, when I see paint by number, I always check it. Although I'm telling you I always check it, I didn't look that thing up. I probably should have, but I guess what I'm trying to help you with is look paint by number stuff up, because you'll be pleasantly surprised. Some of that stuff has some really good value, and there was a couple of years ago some of that stuff was selling for really top dollar. I don't know if the market has sort of leveled itself out in that regard, but make it a point to look most of them up. It's like, do as I say, not as I do, because I picked that thing up and put it right back down, but it is what it is. Sometimes I get lazy, and then I don't recognize who these folks are underneath this chessboard or checkers board. Low cash is what it says. If it's is it WWE? Is it NASCAR? But it was signed, and it's another thing. I probably should have looked at who are these characters. Low cash. What are they? Are they a band? Do they race cars? Anyway, that was signed, and I passed that up as well. But I'm gonna grab the golf club, and I'd be lying to you if I was saying I'm getting better at golf. I don't necessarily know that I am, but I mean, this is so brainless, right? You just go into your app, see if this thing has any resale value, if the comps look good, and make your decisions. So it's a Callaway driver, Razor X, black, TI, and has a graphite shaft. It's in fantastic condition. They want $8 for it, and I see a lot of them listed in the $90 range. There's one selling $90 with free shipping, so I'm going to list mine for $80. Hopefully I'll take better pictures, make my listing stand out a little bit. And then nothing crazy here. This is a Titleist DCI oversized iron set. Problem with this set is there's 6 clubs, there's no wedges. So at $2 a club, I mean, maybe that's going to cost me $12. I might list this for $50. The sell-through rate is really good for DCI iron sets. I don't know how desirable this specific one will be, and again, no sand wedge, no pitching wedge, so I'm gonna have to guess a little bit, or maybe be more aggressive with my price, because I don't know any better. So you golf experts, if you think I can get more than 50, let me know. But $50 to $60 is probably the price range that I'm gonna list those in, and we will move on from there. So let's check this. No puzzles. Not really doing puzzles lately here. I looked at this, and I've actually sold one of these before, but I'm definitely going to pass on it at $40. Scan Snap, this is just not something that I think I can get $80 to $90 for. It's been a minute since I've listed it, and I think the last one that I bought, if I remember correctly, I got like for basically regular price, $6, $7. So at that price, it makes sense, but at $40, that's just way too steep for me, when I think it's more appropriately priced in the $60 to $70 price range right now, pre-owned. There's going to be some outliers, but I don't want to mess with having to test it. I'm like kind of pumping the brakes on electronics just because they take up so much of my time, and I try to do everything expeditiously. So I'm leaving that at $40 because I think I can do better in this store, and hopefully that's the case. So my question for all of you is, now that you know what my sales numbers were for March and April, how were your sales in March, and how were your sales in April? Let me know if you feel like you did better than expectations, or maybe you fell short. If you fell short, what do you think the reasons are that your sales weren't up to par? And if you did better than you thought you were going to do otherwise, what do you attribute that to? I always like to know. And is the level of depth that I try to give you in these videos helping you along that journey? I'm always curious to know. I get an overwhelming amount of positive responses and comments, but I always like to reach out and know how, not only if this is helping you, but are you experiencing better sales than you thought you did? And it's okay to say, you know what, my sales were not anywhere near what I was hoping they would be. But as long as you are trying to figure out where the shortcomings are coming from, then that will help you kind of press forward. And that's what I do. Like if I'm having a slow month, where did this come from? What do I attribute that to? Sometimes I do things not necessarily backwards, but I measure everything on an hourly basis. Like, think that's what makes me different. Like, I want to know exactly how much this business produces per hour I put in. And so some of the other stuff on the front end, I pay a little bit less attention to. Before we head back and take a look at some of the last items that I sourced, some of you had asked about how the Great Strides Walk went for raising money for cystic fibrosis and trying to find a cure. And the walk was tremendous. Sometimes I forget how beautiful downtown Columbus can look. The skies held up just as we did the walk. So the weather basically behaved. My daughters got to see each other and hang out and play with each other. That's the most important thing. And it was a major success. So for those of you that were wondering about that, I thank you. It went well. And we're back in store. So some of these items here, as we finish this up, are a little bit out of my price range for resale. This like NASA, I think this is Paul George, Nike, NASA collaboration here. I thought about them, but once I saw just the small amount of damage right there, for $40, I definitely have to pass on these, even though I think I could have cleaned them up well. But I'm definitely going to grab this Samantha Brown. This is like croc alligator rolling luggage here. It doesn't, my camera doesn't do it justice. It's really pretty. This one is priced correctly for me at $25, and I think I'm gonna try to list this for $100. It looks like Samantha Brown croc related luggage items sell for a high dollar amount, so I'm gonna sort of risk it here. At first glance, they look like they can be valuable, so I think $100 will be right for this one here. Great piece of rolling luggage. And then I grabbed this Turbo DVD, but I didn't purchase it. The only reason I'm picking it up is because it reminded me of, and I want to pass this along to you folks, the Wii U game that's DreamWorks Turbo. If you find that somewhere out at a garage sale this season, grab it. It sells pre-owned between $200 and $250. It would be the score of the century for a lot of people. I would love to find that at a garage sale. So Turbo caught my eye, but the DVD, no value there. But yes, the Wii U game, please keep your eye out for it. I'm convinced it's going to turn up. It seems super rare, but it's not impossible to find. So keep your eye out for that. The rest of this cart here, nothing going on here. What brand is this? I don't even recognize it. I don't recognize those shoes. And there's nothing underneath here, so we are good to go. I am definitely going to grab these Nikes here. This is a pair of Jordan 3 Retro Cardinals. They are a men's size 8.5. I'm going to throw them in the wash, but you got to be real careful. The back of those shoes right there, I want to prevent cracking, and sometimes if you throw them in the wash and they're being bounced around, that will have a tendency to crack, so I have to be careful there, but they do need to be washed a little bit. So size 8.5, I have a feeling they will clean up just fine. My price is going to be aggressive. These sell pre-owned, at least in the 8.5 for around $150 to $180, but I'm going to be in the $130 range for these, and I'm paying regular price for these. These are $5.30 or something like that. Let's just call it 5.5. But this is a good find. They will have to be authenticated by eBay. They look completely authentic to me, so I don't have any problem washing them and getting them listed. But $130 for those. That was a very exciting find and way better priced, way more favorably priced than some of the other shoes that you saw a little bit earlier. And we're going to finish off with a couple of berry bowls. So if you weren't aware that Fire King Jadeite is still extremely hot and extremely popular for resale, make yourself aware of it. All Fire King Jadeite seems to be selling really well. And these are like little tiny, like little 4-inch bowls here, a set of 2. I'm going to test these at $40. I saw one sell for $20. So I'm going to put the pair together and sell them for $40. They're not the swirl pattern. They don't have the wheat on them, which can get you a ton of money if it's got the little wheat pattern on the side. But it's Fire King and it's Jadeite, so it's just a matter of time before they sell. So they're only going to cost me 99 cents each, and I'm going to push it to $40, and we will see what happens. One last look at some of this new stuff here, but I think we've done pretty well this trip or these trips to the stores. So these are just really hard to find. The Relwen Super Fleece hoodie, you can see only 3 of them have sold in the last couple of years on eBay. The last one sold, it looks like it was pre-owned. It looks like all 3 of them were pre-owned for $120. That was the gray one. So I have one that is brand new. As you can see, and I'm going to move over to Huckberry's website, it looks like all of the retailers that sold these brand new had them priced at an MSRP of around $200. And it also looks like they are all sold out. I know my head is covering this up a little bit. So what ends up happening here is the typical buyer for this item isn't going to be starting their search on eBay looking for a deal. They're starting their search on Google looking for the item first, okay? This isn't a deal seeker buyer right here. So they end up at Google, they end up here, they notice it's completely sold out. Eventually they land on the eBay listings and notice that there is one available in their size, in the color that they want. And I'm going to have this priced for that reason at the MSRP of $199. This is a buyer that's not looking to get it cheaply. They just want the item first, right? So the person that I'm targeting is the one that starts their search on Google, not the one that starts their search on eBay. They don't care about finding it for cheaper. They just want the item. And the fact that it's insanely hard to find now is the reason I believe that it is just a matter of time before I sell it for the full retail price of $200. That's where I'm going to price mine at. Hopefully that helps you understand sort of how maybe supply and demand would work in a situation like this. Very similar to the Flint and Tinder shirt that I sourced also. You just can't find them anymore. So great price on that one. $200 on this one. Hope that helps you. For your giveaways for box number 1, I was feeling kind of bad about not having any Lululemon in that one. So I'm going to throw this head wrap in there. I don't really know what you call this. Still has the tag on it. I mean, not new with tags, but it still has this tag on here. $20 on that. And then I have a really nice pair. I think these are Berkeys. The style is Claudia, if I'm not mistaken. These are extremely clean, very hard to find. I'm gonna say at a minimum, you can get $60 for those, 20 for these. The value of this box now is right around, I'm gonna say $675. So in about a week or two, these will both be at $1,000, and then we can close them up and give them away. In box number 2, is this box number 2? Polo Ralph Lauren, Youth, Big Pony shirt. These are always usually good for around $20 in the Youth. And then the next piece I'm gonna add is this Untuck It linen shirt. It's a men's size large. I've seen these sell for as high as $30. I mean, some of them may have even sold for more than that, but it looked like between 25 and 30. I'll be conservative and say $25 for this shirt here, but timing is right for that. So those 2 pieces in that box, these 2 in box number 1. Which one do you think is your favorite so far? Both at around $675 to $700 in value. And like I said before, once they both hit 1,000, we're gonna seal them up and give them away. I have to kind of remind myself, I gotta continue to spend more, because when I spend more, I make more. So I spent $108 for all of the items you saw me source in today's video, and my total listed value comes to $1,200. Spend more, Brendan. Hope you enjoyed that. Dad Planet, the One Man Show, you know what it is. Hit that subscribe button if you are not already subscribed. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.